It actually happened. Ethereum is no longer the second biggest crypto. Now, before you run to the charts and realize it's still sitting right under Bitcoin, I'm not talking about market cap. I'm talking about the ecosystem, user activity, applications, and more importantly, rate of growth. While Ethereum got a lot of attention this year with record ETF inflows and strong price action, this was overshadowing the project that's actually outperforming Ethereum in many ways. It's the original Ethereum killer, also known as Solana. But wait, Solana's market cap is still far from becoming number 2 behind Bitcoin. So why am I saying Ethereum lost its number 2 spot? Well, this is when you need to look beyond just the size of the cryptocurrency. Ethereum has transformed a lot over the years, especially with its layer 2 networks. This has been the key element for increasing user adoption. But during the same period of time, Solana has also been making big moves. This is an ecosystem that's gone through a major evolution this cycle, and if you study what's going on closely, you'll notice many signs that hint at Solana going a lot further. But is this enough to actually put Solana ahead of Ethereum? Well, this is one of the biggest topics of debate in crypto, and you'll find massive communities backing each ecosystem up. But stick around because we're going to dive deep into this topic. We'll start with an analysis of Solana's strength in this market compared to Ethereum, then go into some of the major changes we're seeing with Solana's landscape. And we'll cover what could be the final missing piece before Solana becomes unstoppable. I'll tell you right now, some of these data points are showing clear signs that Solana could flip Ethereum at some point. This isn't something you want to miss. When major shifts like this are happening in the crypto space, you need to be prepared. That's why I've been using Margex for quick setups and instant margin trading. The chart layouts and risk management tools make it easy to make quick moves when timing matters. Follow the link down below and you'll also receive new user bonuses. And for real-time discussions on hot topics in crypto, the FireHustle Discord community has been a game changer. We're breaking down all the key insights daily, analyzing price movements, and mentioning early opportunities. Link is also in the description down below if you're looking to join in on the action. As always, none of what I share is financial advice. Please make sure you do your own research before making any financial decisions. Now hit those like and subscribe buttons, turn on post notifications, and let's dive in. So let's start with why I'm even comparing Solana to Ethereum in the first place. For years, everyone's been talking about the flippening. I'm sure you've heard of this term before at least once. Well, this refers to the moment when Ethereum would overtake Bitcoin as the number 1 cryptocurrency. But here's what I think. The real flippening isn't really about ETH versus BTC anymore. It's Sol versus ETH. Think about it. Bitcoin and Ethereum serve completely different purposes. Bitcoin is digital gold, a store of value. Ethereum is a smart contract platform that brings functionality to Web3 with the goal of mass user adoption. And Solana shares the same goal. Both are fighting for the same developers, the same applications, the same users. This isn't just about price. It's about which platforms become the foundation for the future of decentralized finance and apps. We're all aware of the difference in market cap between Ethereum and Solana, but the Sol-ETH ratio chart tells us a bit more about their dynamics over the years. Back in late 2021, during the peak of the last bull run, Sol was trading at around 0.055 against ETH. That was Solana's peak moment for the cycle. The ecosystem was hot, everyone was talking about the Ethereum killer, and the rapid rise of Solana was clear as day. But obviously, the bear market hit in 2022, pulling down the entire market. But Solana also lost its strength against ETH. Remember the whole FTX collapse? Well, this ended up hitting Solana pretty hard since Sam Bankman-Fried was a major backer. This ratio crashed all the way down to around 0.01, which is an 80% decline against Ethereum. And through most of the bear market in 2022 and 2023, it felt like Solana was struggling to go up against Ethereum again. But near the end of 2023, the ratio began a steady climb that lasted throughout 2024. We're talking about a move from 0.01 all the way up to nearly 0.09 at the peak. That's a 9x move of Solana against Ethereum in less than 2 years. And this move right here was Solana being recognized as a worthy competitor to Ethereum. The Solana ecosystem was setting records during this time and even surpassing leading ecosystems like Ethereum in many ways. Obviously, the chart dropped significantly this year. This lines up with Ethereum making headlines, seeing record ETF inflows, and becoming the new treasury asset for large corporations. It's only natural that ETH's market cap would get a boost. But now we're witnessing another turning point. The chart is climbing back up, Solana is taking up market share at a faster rate. The bounce is real. But the question is whether or not this bounce has legs. Are we about to see a new high on this chart? Because if we are, that would signal something massive. The market would be choosing Solana over Ethereum as the platform for the future. Now, Solana has clearly grown a lot this cycle, and even with all this progress, Ethereum still has some major advantages over Solana. A big one is ETFs, which unlocked a lot of institutional capital. But this is about to change because Solana ETF approvals are right around the corner. We just learned that the SEC is changing up its approval process. So basically, if an ETF asset follows a set of given rules, they will get approved. This removes the long process of regulators reviewing each application separately and all the annoying delays that come with the old system. But before we get too excited about what Sol ETFs could do, let's look at what actually happened when Ethereum ETFs launched. Everyone was expecting this massive pump when ETH spot ETFs got approved in May 2024, but that's not what happened. Ethereum's price actually went sideways and even declined in the months following the ETF launch. The Grayscale Ethereum Trust had to convert to an ETF, and this process created massive selling pressure. Outflows went into the billions. After this movement settled, Ethereum ETFs kept hitting record inflows, even outperforming Bitcoin ETFs, and this led to ETH's strong price climb this year. But here's where Solana ETFs could be different. There's no massive legacy fund like Grayscale that needs to convert and create selling pressure. So Solana spot ETFs in the US creates a new starting point for TradFi investors. Solana has also been building serious momentum through 2024 and 2025, so this might just be the perfect timing. Not to mention, the new ETF approval process and rate cuts starting in the US is giving the entire crypto market some momentum. But the biggest difference might be the narrative. When ETH ETFs launched, Ethereum was already well established. Solana ETFs would be launching during what feels like Solana's breakout moment. The combination of growing ecosystem activity and easier institutional access could create a perfect storm. Now, speaking of growing activity on Solana, let's dive into the numbers because this is where Solana's case becomes really strong. This network has been averaging roughly 100 million transactions per day since the start of 2025. And these aren't counting vote transactions. Compare that to Ethereum's 1 to 2 million transactions per day. That's a massive difference in network usage. Daily active users tells the same story. Even after cooling off from the peak meme season highs, there's still a clear gap between Solana and Ethereum. These ecosystems have also been going head to head when it comes to DEX volume. As of right now, Solana pulled ahead not just in the day, but in the last month. And here's a big one. Application revenue. Solana app revenue hit $193 million in August alone. This is on top of the $1.2 billion in Q1 of this year, which put Solana ahead of all blockchains at one point. This is real utility generating real money from real users. Now, a major portion of this activity started from the mass token launches on Solana. The whole pump.fund trend was insane. Over 60,000 tokens were being launched in a single day, and this showcased Solana's ability to handle mainstream level adoption. The entire experience brought millions of new users into crypto and showed what's possible when you remove complex steps from launching and trading. Now, we're starting to see a new movement in the space, pump fund streaming. This opens up the creator capital market with people being able to monetize themselves. But the question is whether this activity is sustainable. And what we're seeing suggests it's evolving into something more meaningful. The infrastructure built for the meme coin madness is also supporting legitimate applications. Users who came from the memes are sticking around and exploring DeFi and other apps. And this isn't just about a viral moment. It's about Solana proving it can be the platform where the next wave of crypto adoption happens. So what's next for Solana? Well, according to their roadmap, the biggest item to look forward to is FireDancer. This is a complete rewrite of Solana's validator client that could unlock speeds of up to 1 million transactions per second. To put that into perspective, that's enough to handle global payment volumes. We're talking about infrastructure that could compete directly with traditional stock exchanges and payment systems. This upgrade has been in development since 2022, and they're being careful with the rollout. But when fully deployed, this could be the moment Solana goes from being an Ethereum competitor to being in a league of its own. We're talking about infrastructure that could replace traditional financial systems entirely. But just like with all crypto projects, this all depends on execution and strategy. strategy. At the end of the day, there are many more large-scale projects out there also reaching for the same goals. So back to the main question. Can Solana actually flip ETH? Well, looking at everything we've covered, I think the answer is yes, it's possible. But it's not going to be a simple overnight flip. What we're more likely to see is Solana joining Ethereum as a crypto giant rather than completely replacing it. For Solana to flip ETH by market cap, it would need to do about a 4 to 5x climb while Ethereum stands still. And this isn't realistic. But here's what I do think is more likely. Solana continues to outperform Ethereum in actual usage metrics, developer interest, and user growth. The flippening might happen in practice before it happens in market cap. The combination of ETF approvals and the Firedancer implementation and continued ecosystem growth could create the perfect storm. Whether it's a complete takeover or just Solana claiming its spot as Ethereum's equal, this cycle is reshaping the entire crypto landscape. And that's super bullish for this space as a whole. What do you guys think? Will Solana flip Ethereum in market cap, or is there another crypto that you think deserves the number 2 spot behind Bitcoin? Let me know in the comments down below. If this analysis was helpful, then hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. As always, none of this is financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.